I wanted to follow up on a line of questioning that you began with Senator Blake, and that is about our industrial hemp program. And to thank you and Deputy Secretary Strathmeyer, I have an industrial hemp processor in my district, and thousands of acres of industrial hemp was planted there in the district and over in Lancaster County as well, not without a tremendous amount of work. And grateful to you and the Deputy Secretary, the Trump administration, and the Department, DEA, for helping us get that seed into Pennsylvania. I know there were some hiccups after the passage of the Farm Bill, and so I just wanted to follow up with that. I know there are quite a few changes that are being implemented in 2020 due to the passage of the Farm Bill and due to the passage of the package of legislation here with regard to agriculture. And I think it's incumbent on us to make sure that there aren't too many growing pains when we make changes to existing programs, particularly for a fledgling program and industry here in the Commonwealth. So can you just talk about how you're mitigating too many impacts to that new, young, and growing industry?
Yeah, thank you, and again, really appreciate the support on hemp and having this industry sort of, the new old crop to Pennsylvania, and we've made a lot of progress, and I really appreciate the folks in York County and the way they've managed this, and to Senator Blake's point, that one of the unique things that we saw in York County was the contract relationship for growing, which I think is one of those discussions we need to encourage. But as we look at 2020, most important will be the change of having processors licensed and permitted. So we have not done that previously, and we probably have learned the hard way that if the permittee, we know who they are, we're on their location, but once the product enters this the processor and the supply chain, some challenges there of keeping track of it. There's also the importance of the fee, and I think we've tried to be sensitive to that, particularly this 2020 plan is to lower that fee to $150 per permit. Now, there's a difference in definition based on what the USDA interim rules are requiring of us. But I would ask everybody to look at the changes. I think we are particularly sensitive to, finding a way to make sure we do what the USDA and Congress is expecting the states to do, and the USDA at the same time, take the liberties that you've extended to us to run the program in the state to make sure that we are encouraging it, but to make sure it also has some integrity. We do need a federal standard, right? This is part of that discussion that we have to have, particularly around the CBDs, and we think that's one of those evolving issues that we need to be aware of, is that the FDA, we've encouraged them, but the FDA is, at this point, has not provided that guidance to us. We're a little concerned about what that means in the marketplace. So I think that's important just because half of the permits of last year were to grow CBD products.
Well, thank you. And I know that we need a certain amount of regulation to assure that things go well, but over-regulation can really impede the success of the industry. So I thank you for that. Senator Scavello brought up agritourism, and wanted to follow up on that line of questioning. You so often speak about how essential it is for a nation's security to be able to feed its people. And fewer people today are farming. So it's essential for that next generation to understand where their food comes from. Agritourism has really provided that opportunity to so many people. And one of the challenges that I hear from farms that have begun to engage in agritourism is assuring that while farmers welcome people onto their farms, that they are protected from frivolous lawsuits. And Representative Barb Gleim has legislation over in the House to address those concerns. Can you talk about how we can, enhance the benefits of agritourism, assuring that future generations understand the valuable contributions of agriculture, not only to our economy, but to our national security, our way of life, without potentially imperiling them with frivolous lawsuits and enhanced liability?
Yeah, thank you. And we certainly, from the department standpoint, want to encourage that diversification that was talked about earlier, and making sure that, the folks who come to the farm for educational, entertainment reasons are safe, making sure that they get a good message out of the lifestyle of that business, making sure that they are aware of the work that we do to both produce the products and that they enjoy every day, but also are good stewards of animals and the environment. I think all of that is inside of this conversation about being supportive of the farm and the farm community. Specific to Representative Glime's bill, I mean, we are neutral on that. There are some issues with it. I think we sort of came down the center of that, understanding that there's a need to address it, but there are some liability concerns, and I think our position is just to sort of be neutral on it. But at the same time, I think what she is trying to accomplish is the right conversation, right, to signal out. Part of this is signaling out to the farm community that we want to be supportive of that diversification on farms, and if they see that as part of their business plan, we certainly want to be supportive of that.
I appreciate that, because at the farm show spent quite a bit of time with our orchardists.
Yes.
And they said there's two things that really have them greatly concerned. One is liability and agritourism, and the other is spotted lanternfly. So appreciate your efforts in
Absolutely.
those directions. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Good idea.
Thank you.